Alright guys, introducing the Synchro two-wheel drive buggy. Now this is one of the most interesting cars I've ever tested. Very unique car, very interesting car, and we definitely have to get into this. This retails for $299.99. It's available now in 3 different colors, blue, green, and red. Very basic. Now Corally has been making waves in the RC field for many years now. The Kagama just exploded onto the scene. Everybody went crazy for it. While I wasn't in love with some of the elements of the Kagama, it was a great car. The chassis itself was a genius design. And basically the Kagama and Corally was born at that moment. Reborn, I should say. So now fast forward 2025, Synchro two-wheel drive. Why would you buy this? Why would you want this? The Synchro four-wheel drive is unbelievable. Even out of the box, it's great. It doesn't really need any modifications. It appeals to people because of the price and the performance. It jumps really good, the Synchro 4. So why release a Synchro 2? Now I have to be honest with you, taking this out of the box and driving it was basically very disappointing. So I put a battery in it, charged it up 4S, I put a 15 tooth pinion, and then I just gave throttle, and the car just basically spun out off the line. Now I know what you're saying, it has a slipper in the car, but honestly, slippers on this size car, they never really work. And even if you do get them to actually actuate and make the car go straight, they have to slip so much that the engine is going to end up overheating on a long drive. Not worth it on a car like this. You're also going to lose off the line, that thrust that everybody likes. So in the end of the day, you're not going to be able to use the slipper on this car. No matter how nice of a design it is, it's not going to be usable. So how do you fix it? Why do I like the car? Why am I reviewing it? So I immediately put a gyro into the car, a little $24 Chinese gyro, and the car was driving straight off the line. Now the problem still was happening was when I went into turns, the car was just spinning out, and that's because of these tires. These tires are possibly one of the single worst tire I've ever seen on any ready-to-run kit in the world. And that is no exaggeration. These are the hardest rubber I've ever seen. You could throw it against the wall and knock the wall down. That's how disgustingly hard these are. So essentially you have to add a gyro and you have to put Proline tires on it. These are the 2.8 Badlands. They transform the car from undrivable to something that's really special and really fun. So really out of the box, it's not going to be $300. It's really, if you want it to drive correctly, you got to add the Badlands. You have to do the 15 tooth pinion. I use the Techno, and you have to use a gyro. Now, if you have a lot of Traxxas cars, they come with a TQI radio, and luckily they sync with up to 20 different models. You could throw a $40 receiver in this and have the gyro, and it'll drive great, and then your problem is solved. So let's talk about how it drives with all the upgrades. So essentially, it's going to drive. What came to mind was a wild dog on a leash. That's what it feels like. It's unbelievable. It is always on the edge. You do have to use a lot of skill driving this thing, and it takes a little time to master, but once you do, it's very rewarding. So it's a little different than a four-wheel drive car. Most four-wheel drive cars are point and shoot, and this one is very different. This is something that is always on edge. You have to always be using the remote to control the car. Everything's different. Handling, jumping, the way it just overall feels, it's just nice. It's different and it's unique. So if you're looking for something unique that doesn't really break the bank and you're not going to be upset for upgrading it, this is going to be a car that you might want to try out. Now on the front shock settings on the lower part of the arms, we moved the shock to the inner position to add more droop. That's going to prevent the car from spinning out prematurely. It doesn't solve the problem fully, but on a two-wheel drive buggy, you're never going to fully solve that problem, but it does alleviate some of the spinning out along with the Proline tires. The shocks on this car are different than a regular brand, and it's what makes Corally unique is they have very, very slow responding shocks. The rebound is super, super slow. The benefits of that is it pops off everything. When you're basically right before a jump, you're hitting it and it pops. You don't have to be going fast. Even little tiny humps in the topography, it'll just pop off them. It's a nice feature. It does make the car bobble around a lot more than a typical car. Like let's say a Traxxas, these are like normal, quick reacting suspension, traditional. These are non-traditional, but that's Corally. That's what makes this car different. Now the drivetrain and the chassis, everything here is basically ARMA grade very durable, bulletproof, I would say, very well designed, and it's really made to be used. Unbelievable what they did with this chassis design. They keep coming out with winning chassis designs, Corally. The way that, listen, the only areas that they're lacking, and lacking in a big way, are, you know, the tires and the radio. But again, the radio, even though it's small, it's not really fancy, and it's not, you know, it's nothing great. It looks like an Armagram radio, honestly, but the range is good and it works. So the radio doesn't really need to be replaced. Like I said, you can add a gyro to this to make it drivable. Otherwise, the car is not usable. Just so you know, if you buy this car and planning on spending $300 and thinking you're going to have fun with this, it's not going to happen. It's one of the reasons why I think a lot of YouTubers are slow to make reviews on this. They don't want to really bash the Corally brand. I understand that. I get it. I'm probably the first one making a video just highlighting the car on how bad it is out of the box. I'm not trying to ruin the sales. Actually, the opposite. I'm telling you, if you did buy this car and you regret it, or you're thinking about a two-wheel drive car that's a lot of fun, that's cheap, this is going to be something that's fun. It's like a wild ride. You take this out to the pit, and it's like amazing. You go around the turns, and you see that the traction stability, the gyro is just working to keep the car straight, and it lets you kick the car out and do power slides. Unlike a four-wheel drive car where it's like connected like it's on rails, this is going to be just a little bit more exciting. Trust me, if you had everything and you've experienced every emotion in RC and you've had a lot of models, try this out, because it doesn't break the bank. It's cheap. If you want to buy a car just to mess around with and not even care about, this is going to be definitely it. $300 is cheap for what you're getting here. And then, like I said, you're going to have to add some components to make it drivable. Another complaint I have on the car, and this applies to all Corally cars, and they haven't fixed it in years since the original Kagama, is the wheel nuts. The wheel nuts are smooth on both sides. Usually on a typical car you have serration on one side, so when you tighten it, it doesn't loosen up. These loosened up, thank God, at the end of our filming, so we were able to run. We lost it in the middle of the pit. We couldn't find it, so we were out of commission at the end, but we did get a lot of runtime on this. We put an 8,000 milliamp 4S pack in this thing, and it just ripped. Very, very fast. Really good. At 50 miles an hour with the 15-tooth pinion, it is more than enough excitement that you need. You don't really need more than that. They tell you in the manual you can go up to a 17. I wouldn't recommend it if you're going in the rough stuff. You might cause the motor to overheat a little bit. So, like I said, 15-tooth pinion. We used a Techno pinion. It's a machine steel, one of the best pinions you can buy. It goes right in here. Just throw in the pinion. It's very easy to install, and just have a fun time with it. Anyway, this is Mark from parkflyers.com signing off. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to support the channel, we have these in stock you could buy from us. If you have any questions or you want me to upgrade this for you, call me up. I'll throw the tires and, you know, do the gyro thing for you, and we'll get this thing running so that when I ship it to you, it runs really good out of the box. One note on I just have to end with this, I forgot to mention it. On the Proline tires, the front steering hub and the rear have a little bit of rub, so you're gonna have to Dremel out to make these tires work. Not a big deal. If you buy it from me, like I said, I'll do it for you. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us on this video. We'll see you on the next one, and have a great day.